It's a vast pottery army which is slowly being unearthed from the tomb where it's lain for more than 2,000 years.
Deep beneath the rolling hills of China lies a secret so terrifying that the world's bravest archaeologists refuse to touch it. For over 2 millennia, something has been waiting in the darkness. Something that could kill anyone who dares to enter. This is the tomb of China's first emperor. And today, you're going to discover why scientists are literally afraid to open it. Our story begins in 259 BC, in a world torn apart by endless war. China wasn't a country, it was a battlefield. 7 kingdoms clashed in what historians call the Warring States period, each ruler dreaming of ultimate power. But in the western kingdom of Qin, something extraordinary was about to happen. A prince was born. His name was Yingzheng, and he would grow up to become the most powerful and most feared man in Chinese history. At just 13 years old, young Yingzheng watched his father die. Suddenly, this child held the fate of millions in his hands. But instead of crumbling under pressure, he did something that shocked everyone around him. He started planning for his final days. You see, from the moment he became king, this boy began obsessing over a single terrifying question. What happens when I die? But Yingzheng, who would later call himself Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor, wasn't planning to stay dead. He was planning to rule forever. For 17 bloody years, the young emperor unleashed his armies across China. One by one, the rival kingdoms fell. Han, Zhao, Wei, Chu, Yan, Qi. By 221 BC, he had done the impossible. He united China under one ruler for the first time in history. But victory brought him face to face with his greatest enemy, time itself. The emperor who could conquer nations couldn't conquer death, and that terrified him. He sent expeditions to distant islands, searching for mythical herbs of immortality. He forced alchemists to create potions that would stop aging. Some say he regularly drank mercury, believing it would make him immortal. Of course, we know now that mercury is deadly poison. It was slowly killing him even as he desperately tried to live forever. But the emperor had a backup plan. If he couldn't avoid death, he would make sure death couldn't stop him from ruling. What he began building would make the pyramids of Egypt look like sandcastles. Picture this: 700,000 workers laboring for nearly 4 decades. Soldiers, craftsmen, prisoners, an entire generation sacrificing their lives to build something the world had never seen. An underground empire. The emperor didn't want a tomb. He wanted his capital city rebuilt beneath the earth, complete with palaces, gardens, rivers, and an army ready for eternal war. The project was massive beyond comprehension. The entire complex covers 38 square miles, larger than most modern cities. And here's what will give you chills. After 50 years of excavation, archaeologists believe they've uncovered less than 1% of what's actually down there. What else is waiting in the darkness? But the emperor knew his underground kingdom needed protection. So he commissioned something that would guard his eternal rest with silent, watchful eyes. An army that would never sleep, never retreat, and never die. March 29, 1974. A farmer named Jiang Jifa is digging a well during one of the worst droughts in decades. His family is desperate for water. His shovel strikes something unexpected. Clay, then bronze, then a face staring up at him from the earth. Yang has just made the greatest archaeological discovery of the 20th century. What emerged from that field would astound the world. Thousands upon thousands of life-size clay warriors, each one unique, each one a masterpiece. No two faces alike, some stern, some calm, some almost smiling. But here's what most people don't know about this incredible discovery. It almost didn't happen. Jiang Jifa was just trying to survive. In 1974, rural China was still recovering from years of hardship. Yang and his fellow farmers were struggling to grow crops in the drought-stricken soil. When Yang first found the clay fragments, he had no idea what they were. Some villagers thought they'd discovered the remains of an old kiln. Others whispered about ancient curses. For weeks, the farmers continued digging their well, casually moving aside pieces of what they now know were priceless artifacts. Clay heads, bronze weapons, chunks of ancient armor, all treated as obstacles in their search for water. It was only when a local teacher heard about the strange clay figures that authorities were contacted. And even then, it took months before archaeologists realized the true magnitude of what lay beneath their feet. Yang Jifa's life changed forever that day. From a poor farmer, he became one of the most famous people in China almost overnight. But he would later say in interviews that sometimes he wondered if he should have just kept digging as well, because what they found next would prove that some secrets are buried for a reason. While the terracotta army captured the world's imagination, scientists were making a far more disturbing discovery just a few hundred meters away: the emperor's actual tomb. According to ancient historian Sima Qian, the tomb contains rivers of liquid mercury flowing eternally through miniature versions of China's great waterways. For centuries, scholars dismissed this as mythology. They were wrong. In the early 2000s, soil tests around the burial mound revealed mercury levels over 1,400 parts per billion, nearly 100 times higher than what occurs naturally. The mercury wasn't randomly scattered. It was arranged in patterns that perfectly matched ancient descriptions of rivers and seas. Sima Qian was telling the truth. But mercury vapor wasn't the only danger waiting in the darkness. The ancient texts spoke of something even more terrifying: automatic crossbows, designed to kill any intruder instantly. Most experts assumed these were myths. But then archaeologists tested other Qin dynasty sites and found functional booby traps, still operational after 2,000 years. The emperor's tomb might literally be a death trap. Today, the tomb of China's first emperor sits unmarked, unsealed, and untouched. A simple grassy hill hiding one of history's greatest mysteries. But the decision to keep it closed has sparked a fierce global debate. On one side, archaeologists who argue that we have a responsibility to preserve history for future generations, when technology can safely handle whatever dangers lie within. Dr. Sarah Chin, a leading archaeologist, puts it this way: "We watched the terracotta warrior's paint disappear in minutes when exposed to air. Imagine what we might lose forever if we open the tomb too soon." On the other side, historians who believe we're running out of time. Every year, earthquakes, floods, and urban development threaten the site. Professor Michael Harrison argues we're gambling with one of humanity's greatest treasures. Natural disasters don't wait for perfect technology. But there's a third group in this debate, one that rarely speaks publicly: the descendants of the 700,000 workers who built the tomb. Many believe their ancestors' spirits guard the emperor's rest. To them, opening the tomb isn't just dangerous, it's sacrilege. The story of China's forbidden tomb has captured imaginations worldwide. Social media explodes with theories, demands, and fears every time new research is published. Just open it already, Gao. We have robots and hazmat suits. Some secrets should stay buried. The emperor built those traps for a reason. Travel bloggers attempt to sneak closer to the burial mound despite heavy security. Conspiracy theorists claim the Chinese government is hiding alien technology inside. Hollywood has optioned 3 different scripts about the tomb's opening. But perhaps the most surprising reaction comes from an unexpected source: video game players. Multiple games now feature levels based on the emperor's tomb, complete with mercury rivers and ancient death traps. Players worldwide spend hours navigating virtual versions of a place no living person has ever seen. Dr. Lisa Wang, who studies digital archaeology, finds this fascinating. People are so hungry to explore this space that they're creating it themselves, filling in the gaps with imagination. The tomb has become more than a historical site, it's become a symbol of humanity's eternal struggle between curiosity and caution. So here we stand in 2025, still waiting. Modern technology has given us ground-penetrating radar that can see through walls, robotic probes that can navigate tight spaces, and chemical analysis that can detect toxins from a distance. But it's still not enough. Current estimates suggest we're still decades away from being able to safely explore the tomb. New preservation techniques are being developed. Advanced robotics are being tested. Environmental control systems are being refined. But time isn't standing still. In 2023, a minor earthquake registered 4.2 on the Richter scale, just 30 kilometers from the tomb site. Seismologists can't predict when the next one will hit or how strong it might be. Climate change is altering rainfall patterns in the region. Industrial pollution continues to seep into groundwater. Urban expansion creeps closer to the protected zone each year. The race is on. Will human ingenuity unlock the tomb's secrets before natural forces destroy them forever? Qin Shi Huang dreamed of ruling forever. He failed to achieve immortality in life, but in death, he might have succeeded beyond his wildest ambitions. For over 2 millennia, he has commanded global attention. His underground empire has outlasted every dynasty that followed. His army of clay soldiers has become more famous than any general who ever lived. And his tomb? It remains unconquered, unlooted, untouched. The emperor's final fortress has withstood every siege that time, nature, and human curiosity have mounted against it. Perhaps that was always the point. Whether we ever open the tomb or not, Qin Shi Huang has achieved something no other ruler in history can claim. He has made the entire world afraid of him, even 2,200 years after his death. In the end, maybe the emperor's greatest treasure isn't gold or jade or rivers of mercury. Maybe it's the fear itself.